Yes, people, how are we doing? Oh, we've still got that StreamYard clip at the top, which should have been took out, but never mind. So, let's see as we are live now. How many people's in? Oh, there we go. People starting to come in now. I will start this in a second. Once we get a couple of more people in the room, people. But a lot of you will have been seeing this news all weekend, especially the ones who are active on social media and YouTube, not so much YouTube, sorry, Facebook. The rumours going about this absolute wronging, and I've had any amount of emails, messages, inboxes talking about this. But I've got a couple of bits of media which I'm going to put up here. So, right, we're a minute in. There's nearly 100 people in watching, and you'll be all dying to hear about this. Well, I'm just going to go over it first. So, as you can see here, on Gangster Films UK, prison governors have now issued a formal statement regarding yesterday morning's incident inside HMP. According to the confirmed update, Ian Huntley has suffered permanent damage to both eyes as a result of the attack. Medical teams treating him at the trauma centre have informed officials that the injuries are consistent with complete loss of sight, and he is now registered blind in both eyes. The prison has extended its lockdown of the affected wing while investigations continue, interviewing witnesses and reviewing CCTV footage to identify every individual involved in the disturbance. Further information is expected once the full internal report is completed. Well, as much as I would love to have believed this was true, 2 seconds, I'll take that off a second. As much as I would have believed this was true, like I say, Friday, I think people were sending us inboxes. Saturday, Sunday, inundated. Loads of message requests on Facebook, Instagram, inboxes, messages of people I even know. Even my brother sent us the clipping and said, you need to do a video on this. But everyone who's been watching my channel knows for a fact I will not put stuff on here unless I know it's certain. If this was true, I would have had information from staff that actually work inside the prison that give us updates. I would have had, well, it would have been in the local press. That would have been, because the screws up in Franklin, when things have took place, it's immediately in the press. They go to the Chronicle or whatever, and it's in there. But that article that was on that page, have a look here. Sorry, that wasn't the one. I'm going to put these other ones up. Nah. Well, 50 Shades of Council Estates. Look at how many followers they've got. 148,000 followers. That one there on Gangster Films, I believe, has over 200,000. The same article, that one, and it even has a link at the bottom saying, click on the link, and it takes you to the video. And there's a video of him walking around the exercise yard, which is a whole load of shit. Crime Watch News. Look at how many comments there is. 845 comments on one thing, 331 shares. Now, I do believe this was first shared on Twitter, on X. And that's where all these other channels have jumped on board without even looking into the facts to see whether it's true or not. They've jumped on it. And they've even said the prison governor has given update to this offence, to this attack. And on one of the channels, it had over 300,000 views on one channel. Collectively, I had a quick tally up. There's over 1 million people seeing this. So you can imagine, by 800 odd comments on one post, that million people out of 1 million, about 80%, when you go through the comments, are thinking it's true. And that's why a lot of people are coming to my channel, because with this being probably the biggest UK prison channel, if you have a look at the numbers, the most amount of subscribers, the most amount of views, and the most amount of good feedback, for one reason, because you only get the truth on here about what goes on inside the prison system. But that one there, 50 Shades of Council Estates, has got the same write-up, so they've all just seemed to have copy and pasted it, and it's telling people to share away. But I would love more. I would love no more than this to have been true and me to come on here, because when them other two Bacons, Kyle Bevan and Ian Watkins, got took out inside of HMP Wakefield, whoever's been following my channel will see what I put up when I said that there's going to be copycat attacks. That was after the Watkins one. I said there's going to be copycat attacks throughout the prison system where the Bacons, I'll put that, the Bacons are going to be getting bashed. Every time a Bacon gets bashed, I bring the little piggy out. But yes, so I did do an upload video saying who is next. Huntley was one of the ones that was on the list. And then not even a week afterwards, Kyle Bevan was killed. Someone was saying how ironic that you've just put a video out saying who is next. He was next, but he wasn't on my list because I actually hadn't even heard of him. And there's loads of Bacons like him that go unnoticed because there is a lot more of these than what we actually think. But the good thing to take away from it is knowing that they are shitting themselves, more so inside of HMP Wakefield, waiting to see who is next. But when I read that article as well, there was one of the articles that I read about that Ian Huntley, when it said he was done on the exercise yard, and it said, like, when you have a look at that article that I put up before, like, the extent that they've went to make it look real, saying about the emergency crews, saying about, one of them said he got airlifted to hospital because it was that bad. And before I knew it wasn't in any of the news outlets, it wasn't on the local medias or in any of the press articles online, I knew it was fake by looking at the read-up, because it said it happened on the exercise yard and he had a substance thrown in his face and he's now registered blind. Now, if someone has been blind, it's registered blind. That happened quite quick for them to come and give a statement saying he is now registered blind. Everyone is jumping with fucking jolly, thinking it's true, which I did think myself. I didn't think myself when I seen that. When it said registered blind, I thought, well, they're exaggerating a bit there. If he had something chucked in his face on the exercise yard, the only thing you can get your hands on inside a prison is bleach, and it's not even, in fact, it's not even bleach, it's detergent, what they wash the floors with. It is strong, but it wouldn't make you blind. So when I seen that, it said something has been chucked in his face on the exercise yard and he's now registered blind. There's nothing in prison that you could have as a noxious substance. The only thing that could make you go blind by chucking something in your face is acid. There is no acid inside of prison. None that you get your hands on. And there's no ammonia. Ammonia wouldn't even make you go blind. Maybe partially for a little while, but even that wouldn't make you go blind. So that was when I realized this article is absolute bullshit. There is something that, if it went in your eyes, could possibly make you go blind. It would burn your eyelids off, and that is hot oil or ghee, butter melted down and chucked in your face. But it would have to have been straight from the pan into your face in the kitchen for it to have any sort of damaging and long-lasting effects, where it would have ran down the face, burnt the eyelids off, and possibly melted the eyeballs. But you're not going to get hot oil on an exercise yard, because by the time you've smuggled it onto the yard, it would have went cold. So that was when I realized it was absolute bullshit. And that's why everyone's come to my channel, and that's why I'm getting all these inboxes and emails saying, do a story on this. And as much as I was loving to get on and do a story, on Saturday, when it fucking started coming about, when everyone was thinking it was real, and my family members were messaging us, sending us the article, saying do a story on it, I thought, yes, here's my story for the day. But when I looked into it further, looked on my inbox, didn't have any messages. I messaged someone who worked in the prison, who was given us info previously, sent them an email, and they said, unfortunately, it is not true. So I will be bringing you that info when it does happen on here. And I will be doing an updated video on who's next on the list. I've done 5 prisoners on the last video. If you haven't seen it, go back and have a look. It was about 2 weeks ago. And it was Ian Huntley, Levi Belfield, Wayne Cousins, Roy Whiten, and who was the other one? I'm forgetting. There was 5 of them on that list. 5 of the most high-profile bacons in the system who will be on the list, who are on the list, who will be in fear of their life. Ian Huntley is asking for extra protection because he's that scared he's going to be next. But I'm going to do an updated list sometime in the next few days on who's next on the list. But most of these ones I'm going to list are actually inside HMP Wakefield. And as you'll know, if you've been watching the channel, inside of HMP Wakefield, it used to be 90% bacons, 10% normal offenders. It is now 60% bacons and 40% lads of the normal wings. So the 40% do not want to be mixed in and don't want to be associating with these, and they'll be looking for excuses to get off the wing or get out of that prison. And guess what guess what is going to get them out of the prison? By attacking a bacon. And I'll be bringing you the info straight on this channel. But I'll do a little bit of interacting in a second, people, with the subscribers, because I can see there's a few comments popping up. And someone I can see in the comments here has mentioned Philpott. Yes, Philpott is on the list. He will be shitting himself inside of HMP Wakefield. And I dare bet you they'll be asking to be getting put on, or a bit like what Mark Fellows has done. Because as much as Mark Fellows has done what he's done previously by taking out 2 gangland enforcers and killing someone, allegedly, killed Kyle Bevan, killed a bacon, done some community service for once inside a prison. As much as we all think he's done it to get rid of that bacon, which he would have, but he's been attacked on a couple of times himself inside a prison. He was viciously attacked inside of HMP Whitemore, where he got opened up, and he did get airlifted to hospital. That's why they transferred him up to HMP Wakefield. But even in Wakefield, he was stabbed up off a fellow con because of what he'd done to Massey and Kinsella. So he has got a target on him back. Allegedly, there's 150k on his head for whoever takes him out. So you can imagine having that on you inside a prison, you will be wanting to get off a normal wing. And he has done that to get himself put on the unit, where he'll only be with a handful of other people. You hardly get any exercise with other prisoners. They sometimes put you out one at a time by yourself because they're so dangerous and so high profile. And that is one of the reasons he'll have done that, so he doesn't have to watch his back constantly inside a prison, because it's bigger, harder, and more dangerous than what he is inside of there. Right, I'll have a quick look at the comments, people. If anyone wants to put anything in, let us know. If you want us to talk about anything specifically, or let us know what you have heard. So, Simpy has said, to be honest, I reckon it's only a matter of time. It is true. Beasts, disgusting beasts. Now, Simpy, thank you very much for that £10 super chat. Obviously, if you put a super chat in, you'll be the first one to get your comment read out, but I do appreciate that very much. Right, let's have a look on here, because there's loads of comments, so I need to try and go back a little bit. So, Tropical Palm Tree says, I'm gutted. Sorry, I'm going to be gutted if it's not true, but those pages sharing the story are a load of clickbait bollocks. They are, but they should have more savvy than to be putting fucking stuff on like that, getting people's hopes up, but putting shit like that on. I'm surprised people follow the pages by putting clickbait stuff up and people interacting with it and commenting on it before they even know it's true. As much as everybody who's commented will be fucking buzzing, thinking, yes, he's been done properly this time, because that would be the ultimate fucking bonus point, that if that did happen to him and he had to walk around the prison blinded for the rest of his life, then that would be a fucking absolute bonus. It would be better than him actually being took out, because imagine if he's took out, then that's it. That's the end of him. But if someone does that to him inside of prison, then he's going to have to walk around the prison. Well, be crawling around, to be honest, because you wouldn't be able to fucking walk around when you're blinded. Right, here's the next one. So, JJ, I'm not going to say the full thing because I could not pronounce that name. Huntley is a horrible, disgusting human being. He should never have been born. What he did to those two innocent girls is unspeakable. He is not a man. He is a monster, a demon in human form. And I absolutely agree with you, because whoever's been following my channel will know that I've done stories on him previously. And that's one of those cases, because I was just a young lad myself at the time, a young teenage lad when this happened. And it sticks in your mind. These two innocent 10-year-old girls, Holly and Jessica, with their Manchester shirts on, which people will never forget, was taken out by that cowardly demon. And it's something that stays with more so the citizens of the UK who witnessed this when it was unfolding on the news, hoping every day that these little girls would have been found. But then, tragically, when they were found in the state that they were in by what that horrible demon had done to them. Right, next one up. Like I say, if anyone's got any comments they want us to read out, or whether they want any requests for future videos, let us know. I am new here. It's true or not? No. If you've just joined now, it's not true. Definitely not true, because like I've mentioned previously, earlier on in the video, sorry, that I've got people inside of Franklin prison that give us info, what goes on inside of there. Just move this mic a little bit. What goes on inside of there. And they said it's not true. But something of this magnitude, if it were true, it would have been all over all the papers online. Even though a lot of people don't get papers now. If you go online, the online articles are there for you to see. So, Fat Leonard says Huntley has a release date, but Fellows doesn't. How? Unfortunately, he should have been life without parole. He actually, I think he got, no, he didn't. That was Roy Whiten. Roy Whiten actually got a 50 and it got took down to 40 on appeal. I nearly got it confused with Huntley there. But Huntley has a minimum of 40 years, but he will never be released, because he will stay inside of high security, because he will not want to move from his comfort zone, because he'll be getting comfortable on the wings in Franklin, because he's on the wing with Levi Belfield, Wayne Cousins, all them monsters are on the same wing inside of HMP Franklin, and he'll feel comfortable being there, even though he will get attacked at some point. The screws are obviously, because he's so high profile, they are keeping him protected, and there's only certain individuals get put on that wing where he is, so that he doesn't get attacked. Checked and vetted Bacon's on the same wing, like Cousins and Belfield. But yes, he's got a release date, but don't be fooled, he will not get out of prison, because he will need to go to different prisons to do different offending behaviour courses, that type of offending behaviour courses for Bacon's. Then he'll have to go to a category B, then to a category C. But even when he gets to 60, 70-year-old and he got to a category C prison, he will get attacked off the other inmates. So he will want to stay in the high security estate where he will feel more comfortable. He will not be doing these offender behaviour courses, so he will not be reducing his risk. He's category A, and the Cat A board will not take him off unless he looks like he's reduced his risk. But because he's so high profile, he will become attacked whatever age he is. So just like that Sydney Cook, I can't remember how old he is now. I think he's 90-year-old. I've done a video on him a couple of months back when he nearly got murdered inside of Wakefield as well, I believe it was, when he got smashed over the head with a flask and he got knocked unconscious. It was a savage attack. I had the video, but YouTube flagged it up when I posted it. But I do have a Facebook page for subscribers only, so I think I might repost that in there actually, since I've just spoke about it, because, like I say, when I post it on certain sites, like Facebook, Instagram, or on here more so, it gets taken down because of, obviously they're not going to show that thing on here, but it looked as though he'd been took out. 90-odd-year-old fella getting smashed that savagely. He hit the floor like a ton of shit, but he did regain consciousness. Right. So Mick says, I wonder if John Venables is a contender for justice. Him and Robert Thompson should have been jailed forever for James Bulger, a forever shameful example of the British justice system. That was another one of those cases that sticks with you, because I was just a youngster at the time. There's that as well. I can't remember what age, but I remember that case vividly. Everyone will do who was born in the 80s and 90s. But John Venables, I did say something saying he's been refused his parole again. There's nothing more being heard about Robert Thompson. He got released and then there was nothing more heard. He's obviously kept his head down with his new identity, whereas the other bacon, John Venables, was looking at extreme images and he ended up getting recalled back to prison. That absolute wronging. Will be a contender, but again, with his new identity, there's not a lot of people know who he is. I mean, Sam Walker did expose him, and that's why Sam Walker was wanted, because obviously with there being a blanketing on him and with him having a new identity, he revealed his photo, and because he'd done so, unbelievably, they were after him. Now, there was a lot of shit going around as well online. I think the majority of you who have actually seen or who are following these pages that I've just shown here, a lot of them were putting stuff up which I found very disgusting about Sam Walker, saying that he was John Venables. And I couldn't believe what I was reading. And again, the fucking public reading it, the comments that were underneath saying I knew there was something about him, everyone believing it. And I thought, if you used your common sense, you would know that that was fake and it wasn't true. They were actually putting pictures of Sam Walker and Venables when he was younger side by side, look at the resemblance, and everyone's saying it was definitely him. It definitely wasn't. Sam Walker, if it was him, do you think he would have been allowed out of the country? He's still going to be on that lifelong restriction because of what he'd done. They'll still be keeping an eye on him. Obviously, he's got his new identity, but he wouldn't have been allowed to leave the country. And I thought, how daft are these people reading, like putting these comments in, saying it's him? But I just thought I would speak about that since John Venables was mentioned, because when I seen it, I thought, fucking hell, how bad is that? Accusing someone of being him. As much as Sam Walker, he's got a lot of lovers and a lot of haters, but being branded and people saying that's you, fucking hell, that must have been a bit of a proper kick in the balls, that one. Right. Oh, someone's just put there, I don't believe that's true either. Thompson just got out of prison and left the UK. The only way he would have left the UK is if he left without permission. And it says just got out of prison. He didn't. Not as far as I know, he hasn't just gotten out of prison. So Incognito says Venables is inside. Yes, he's inside. He got recalled again. I think he's been recalled twice. And what was it? He's up for parole again, but I think the parole has been refused. One of these other pages, that's what I've seen. I think it says Venables has been denied parole, which I do believe is true. I've done a video about a year ago when he was up for parole, when he got denied it. Obviously, he's going to get denied it because of what he's in for and what he's been doing. The horrible, sackless piece of bleep. Right, let's see. Right. Like Nicky's put there, Sam's not my favourite person, but definitely not him. Like I say, whether you love him or hate him, because if you go on his TikToks, he only normally goes on TikTok now. He gets a lot of good comments, and he's got a lot of fans, and he does smash it on the across his social media. He's making a fortune on it. But he's got a lot of haters, and a lot of haters were jumping on it and sharing it and saying this. But people were actually believing it. When you look at the comments, they were saying, I knew there was something about me. And I thought, fuck yeah, no, that's bad, that. That's bad. Right. So Rez says, are police officer killers hated by the inmates? Well, Wayne Couzens is obviously the highest, or the most high profile rather, copper who's killed on the outside. He is an absolute proper despicable bacon. I've done videos on him previously. And yes, he's hated. He hasn't had any prison justice yet, but he will do. And I've done a video on him, on David Carrick. That's been my highest ranking video, to be honest. And I might do an update on those too, because Carrick has been battered and done inside of Belmarsh. But like I've said, Couzens hasn't had his just desserts yet, but he will do, people, in due course. But yes, the police officers who are in prison definitely have a hard time, and they do go on the VP wings. They get put on protection for obvious reasons, because a lot of these coppers that end up in prison have banged people up. And imagine you're on a wing and you see a copper who banged you up and you're in there doing a sentence because that copper put you in there. You can imagine what's going to happen. But more so these coppers who are bacons, because there's a lot of coppers going in at the minute who are ironically bacons. They are going straight on the bacon wings, straight on the VP wings for protection for obvious reasons. But there is cases where coppers have been involved with OCGs. And if you don't know what an OCG is, it stands for organised crime gangs. And if there's coppers that have been involved with these who have give intelligence over to stop people from getting raided, or they've been involved in it, they have been given info, like I've just said, about upcoming raids or informants, different things like that. Then obviously when they land inside of prison, the connections from the OCGs will give their go-ahead and say, listen, he's all right, he's involved with us. Get yourself down, have a cup of tea with him, cup of coffee. He might give you some info about other cases, which they will do for obvious reasons. So Ray Cole Brown, thank you very much. Big up, great channel, keep going. Appreciate that very much, Paul. Nice one. So what about Dale Cregan? Lisa Thorpe says, what about Dale Cregan? He killed Nicola and Fiona. Now, again, will he get a hard time for what he done to the coppers inside of prison? Certain inmates will do. Obviously, what he done, even the hardened criminals, the big-time gangsters, ones that I've been inside of jail with as well, on when I was in prison, they said, when we've had that discussion about this, said there was no need for him to do that. He went too far. Them two coppers on duty that day were young women who were just doing their job, and they did not deserve to get shot dead the way they did. But he did say his only regret about doing that was that it wasn't two males that he'd shot dead. He said he didn't realise it was sent two women, but it went too far. He was in the process of obviously wanting to do his deed so he'd get took off the streets because of all the shit that he was in and what he'd been doing. Right, there's a lot more comments coming in, so I'll just go through some of them.
I didn't get that.
Oh, shit.
Could you try again?
If you can hear that, that's just me fucking Alexa or whatever you call it, just come up on my computer. Right. JB Mods, good to see the channel making steady growth, Ricky. Thank you very much, JB. Thompson was seemingly allowed to immigrate to Australia. The police did a thing saying he's there. Definitely not. He would never have been allowed to go to Australia. like I said, they'll obviously, I'm not sure about his restrictions or whatever he's on now, but he will be on some sort of restriction still where he's got to, with him being on that new identity and everything, I'm sure they'll still have to report and people can't keep an eye on him. Surely there will be. And that about him going to Australia. I wouldn't even be allowed into Australia and I didn't kill anybody, so I don't think that is true. So Danny says, will the likes of Huntley, Belfield, etc. have many luxuries in prison? Disgusting if they do. Well, they will have the same as what every other prisoner inside of high security has. And that is, in those high security prisons, because I've been in Franklin myself, HMP Franklin. I've been in local prisons, category Bs. I've been in category Cs, and I've been in cat A and cat B prison, which is HMP Franklin. So the luxuries you're allowed inside there as a prisoner when you're enhanced. The first luxury which I'll speak of is you can buy your own bedding, which is a massive luxury because in prison you get the shitty, which the prisoners call itchy scratchies. It's the same as if you ever been in a police station, you get that orange little shitty quilt, which irritates you, makes you itch and scratch because it's that type of fiber. I'm not sure what it is. But it's just thin, a little thin, shitty fucking blanket, which does keep you warm, but it makes you itch and scratch. That's why they're called itchies and scratchies. So you can buy your own bedding. You can get yourself a luxury quilt, luxury bedding to go on your quilt and pillows and bed sheets. So they're the luxuries you can buy. First off, you can have a spends out of your private account once or twice a year, up to £500, where you can get yourself a hi-fi, a stereo. You can buy yourself, you get it's called a clothing parcel, where you can spend up to £500. It used to be about £200-300, but obviously with the cost of everything going up, it's been put up to £500. So you can buy, somebody can send you the money. You can then go on to, bearing in mind it's only like the likes of M&M, and I'm not sure the other one, maybe Sports Direct, where the clothing isn't the best, but it's still a luxury. You can buy your own clothing. You can wear your own clothing on the visits. You can wear your own clothing going to the gym. Where in other prisons, you've got to wear prison issue kit for walking around the prison and for your visits. But in there, you can buy them type of luxuries. You can even buy stuff from Holland and Barrett, vitamins, proteins, and different things. You can buy yourself a hi-fi. Some of the lads in there had big, massive fucking boom boxes, 200-watt fucking speakers on them, blaring out on the landings. You can buy Xboxes, PlayStations, things like that. You can't buy the newest ones that can hook up to the internet and stuff. But you can get your PlayStation, different things like that, which is classed as luxuries. If you've got enough money sent in, you can buy, I'll just name a few things on the canteen, because there's freezers on the wings where you can buy chickens, steaks, you can get fresh fruit and vegetables, you can buy your own stuff like that. So all of these horrible wrong'uns can get all that luxuries as well, if they've got the funds and money sent in. So that's the type of luxuries that they can actually get, which is massive luxuries inside a prison compared to, like I've just mentioned, the category Cs. I used to think when you go to high security prisons, because you're in for more serious offences and bigger sentences, that you didn't get as much stuff. But it's the other way around. When you're in them prisons, you're in there for a long time, and they're trying to give you more luxuries to get you more comfortable and get you more settled, because you're in there for the rest of your life in some cases. So that's why they do it. And like I say, you can cook your own food. You can make Sunday dinners. You can make curries. You can make what you want if you've got the funds. But a lot of them have jobs where £15 a week, and kitchen jobs £25 to £40 a week, depending on which job you get. But the only thing what the prisoners complain about all the time is that the cost of living has went up, the cost of everything has went up, but the wages haven't went up inside a prison for the past 20 years, which when you're in there doing your time is a piss take, because when you put £10 a week phone credit on to ring your family back home, you're left with £5. And the likes of me who went to the gym And like eating protein, tins of tuna is like £1.50. Tuna steak's nearly £2, so it doesn't go very far when you're in there. But them bacons shouldn't have the same luxuries as what the other prisoners have. They should be kept segregated, locked up 24 hours a day. That's what they should get. That's what they deserve. Anyone that hurts little ones doesn't deserve jack shit. Any entitlements should be fucking gone when you've done something to a little one. Right. So Mimo says, just got out of Brixton in March. It was a fucking joke. Enhanced got 18 quid a week. Full-time courses. At Rochester, we got £40. So obviously, Mimo's just getting out, and it's still the same. £18 a week on enhanced. But again, if you don't get any money sent in from the outside, which the majority of prisoners don't, a lot of them don't have family connections. A lot of them are in there because they've lost their way. They haven't got families. They've just went off their heads. They're taking drugs. They're drinking. They don't know what they're doing. They're funding the habits by doing whatever. End up in there. And some of the jobs, you get a £5 a week. And the majority of these lads vape as well. And the vapes were actually £2.50 when I was last in 2020, got out in 2021. And the ones that were getting £5 a week wages, they actually went and put the fucking vapes up to £2.55, which was an absolute liberty. So the lads that were only getting a £5 a week couldn't even buy 2 packets of vapes. But if you had money sent in from the outside and you were enhanced and you had a job, you had your £15 from work, then you had £25 spends from your private cash if you were enhanced. So you could spend £40 a week. And that £40 a week went a long way compared to 15 or 5. Because I used to put £15 a week on my phone, £25 I would use for food. But there's ways and means around it. If you had money on the outside and you had someone in prison who didn't have any money, you would get money sent to them. So you get an extra £25 a week sent to someone else. You would give them a £5 for doing it. And then you had an extra 20 for plenty of protein. Right, let us have a look here, because I've seen something else pop up. There's that many messages, comments coming through. So rather be Earcat says, you got £40 on enhanced when I gave up on going to jail 15 years ago. So that would have been, like I've just mentioned there, the £15 plus your £25, which is still the same, £25 private cash. Right. So Mimo says there, so it's £2.89 now. If you're unemployed, you get £2.50, so you can't even get 1 box of vapes. Absolute fucking piss take. And they wonder why people are scheming and fucking doing all sorts inside the jail, because you can't even live on the shitty fucking wages. So 37 EC says, Ricky, may I ask, were you in jail with Raoul Moat, or was he released before he hit the headlines in the Northeast? I was actually in HMP Accrington. It's now HMP Northumberland. I think it was in 2010. That was when I was up there, 29210, I think it was. So I think it was around about 2010 when that happened with old Morty. So, yes, where you're in jail. I was in jail. I was up in HMP Accrington, now Northumberland. And I'm not going to lie, people were putting bets on to see how many coppers he was going to take out with him. So, I'm not going to even pronounce that. Pan down says he hasn't been attacked. So we're getting back to Huntley here, which is the thumbnail of the video and the title of the video. He hasn't been attacked. You will not believe anything. You've seen words on a Facebook post with no source and automatically assume it's real. Well, in the defense of these people, like I've mentioned, if people are still just joining now, you can, once I finish the live, you can go back. I talked about 10 minutes at the beginning, talking about whether or not this was true. It's definitely not true. But when he's saying here, you will not believe anything, the ordinary person, the ordinary citizen who's never been to prison, don't know nothing about prison or whatever, they see this flash up from these pages that have got over 300,000 followers, which should be legitimate pages that put out legitimate information. If you have that many followers, I wouldn't dare put a post up like I've mentioned at the beginning, come on here and tell everybody that Ian Huntley's been attacked without even getting it verified, because it's just absolute bullshit. But these people that are commenting on the Facebook post, like I've just said, they look at the top and say, right, he's got 300,000 followers, it must be real. But even the way that it's being worded, saying the prison governor has issued a formal statement and then talking about he's been registered blind or whatever, absolute bullshit. But yes, that is the reason why people will believe it. Right. 37 says, also, Ricky, at some point, are you able to do a video on the Swindon taxi driver, double killer, Christopher Halliwell? I've not heard about this one. Is this a recent one or is this an older case? I'll have to try and remember that name, Swindon taxi driver. Let us know if it's recent in the comments. What's this one? Mimo, I think they're so sick that it consumes them. Look at America, still happens. I'm just laughing at this here, incognito. My American bully is so happy snug beside me watching the live. Right, what's this one? People get paid on them 300k without them knowing the facts. Clickbait. But that's probably what it comes down to. The more concerned about getting people commenting, talking about it and getting paid rather than getting the true facts. What's this one? He says, it was an older case, mate. He's banged up currently in HMP Long Lawton. I'll try and have a look at it. I'll type in Swindon taxi driver because I'll probably forget the name. But I'll do another 5 or 10 minutes on here. There's still a lot of people in, but if you are just joining, go back when I finish the live. I will upload it, so it will go up, and you will see talking about Ian Huntley, about whether he got attacked or not. So Eddie Boy says, Ricky, I agree with the conditions attached to criminals, but I kid you not, there was a news article about him transitioning into a woman. Whether true, it would be scandalous. Well, I wouldn't put it past him, because them bacons down there are absolutely fucking disgusting. And I will talk about when I was in Franklin as well. When I was in the workshops, we used to give them some grief out of the gate, because they used to get sent down from the workshops separately. You used to have a big, massive building inside of Franklin, which went nearly the full length of the prison, and it had all the different workshops. And I was in the brick workshop at the bottom. All the way at the other end, they had the wood workshop, but in between they had like art classes, different things. Then they had all the bacons further up. So when they used to get sent back first, obviously the screws are interacting with each other, and there's someone in the intercom's office tell them when to open the gates, release them so they can go back. The door would be open, but obviously there's a big cage gate that opens and closes to go through. So in the summer, when that door was open because of the heat in the workshops, they were getting sent back. We'd all be at the gates fucking shouting abuse at them. And sometimes if we got let out early, you could look into the workshops where the bacons were, and they'd be in there dressed up as women. And the screws were allowing this. They had wigs on, they had fucking stuff down the top, so it looked like they had big women bits. I'll be careful what I say on here. And it was absolutely fucking disgusting. Imagine looking through and see a load of men, and some of them were dressed up as women. They were actually allowed to buy different stuff on their canteen list. Sometimes they're allowed bits of makeup. They're allowed to buy women's fucking clothes and different things. Absolutely scandalous. They shouldn't be allowed to bow down to their fucking sick needs in jail. So there is prisoners that have changes in there, and they actually allow it. Some of them have went as far, I'm not sure about in England, but I've done videos in Scotland where they've went as far as letting them go to a whip. Someone called Isla Scott, I think it was. I've done a video on him. Pure man, in for fucking raping a woman. He wanted to become a woman. He used to dress up as a woman in jail. He was transitioning into a woman. They let him go to a woman's prison. The women felt fucking volatile and scared and vulnerable on the wing when this man turned up, and he was actually trying to assault them. Not with his fists, may I add. He was actually trying to assault the women in the prison, and he got sent back to the man's jail. Absolutely scandalous. But there is wrong'uns like that in Frankland, dressed by not just Frankland, all the high security ones. There'll be loads of them in Wakefield parading around the wing like women, and it's allowed. Fucking outrageous. Right, Craig Mawson says, Rick, I agree with you about being shit about Huntley and the attack because you wouldn't be registered blind on the same day. And that was the thing that grabbed me when I seen the article. The first thing was when they said he'd been blinded on the yard by something chucked in his face. There's nothing you could get inside a prison that could blind someone on the prison yard, as in a noxious substance. Then when they said he'd been registered blind, I thought, bullshit, it would take fucking weeks or months. Maybe it's not months, but it would take a while for them to say he's registered blind because it would have to go through all sorts of tests to see whether or not his sight came back or whether he could see or not. So Madge says they're the lowest of the low. They're often referred to bacon because it's a nasty term for them. Yes, bacon bonds equals nonce. And I was using the term on here because my videos were flagging up constantly. But lately, when I'm saying certain words, it seems to be okay, but I don't want to push it because, like I say, the last thing I want is this channel either getting restricted or took down for talking about them the way I want to. So I am being a lot more professional than what I used to be. I used to rip on here, but a lot of my videos would flag up and they wouldn't be allowed. So, yes, I'm a bit more reserved. So thank you for another awesome live stream. As always, keep up your fantastic work. Yes, I didn't think there would be as many people on the live stream, obviously with the time being early in the morning before dinner time in the UK. But there's been quite a lot. There's 700 people watching me live before, which is a good amount of people for a YouTube live. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. We've been on for 47 minutes. But fire away, people. I'm going to do another few minutes if anyone wants to ask anything more. Incognito's saying, did you see Barbie Kardashian here in Ireland only let out? I've never heard of that one, but I can only assume it's a wrong and dressed up as a Barbie with big bits. Will Ian Watkins' funeral be recorded to identify Bacon's? Nonsense. Ian Watkins' funeral, bloody hell. He's probably already had it by now, to be honest. And I did see something that it was going to be held. Obviously, his family members, the ones that still have anything to do with him, would have just had him cremated and chucked somewhere where people won't find him. Because I do not believe he will have been buried, and I do not believe he'll have a headstone because it will be cremated. If he had I spoke about this when I was doing the video about him. If he was to get buried, he would have been dug up by some Ed Gein type freako who wanted to keep him because he has got some sick, twisted fans that still would have been extremely upset. And they probably would have wanted to keep him and put him on the mantelpiece. So they might have dug him up if they found out where he was. And if people found out where it was, his gravestone would be smashed to pieces. So I do believe it'll have been held in secret and he will have been cremated. So Bravely says, be a can, because I've laughed at this previously because I've seen in some of the comments people saying, what is a beer can? Obviously with me Geordie accent, when I say bacon, it sounds like beer can. But my accent is actually, I was born in Newcastle, lived in County Durham. My accent isn't as strong as the lads, wait, not just the lads, as the people in Geordie land in Newcastle. They do actually say a beer can. Did you hear about that beer can? So they've got a much stronger accent than me. The likes of when you've heard, people would have heard Paddy Conroy speaking. People will not understand that accent because it is, a lot of people can't understand mine. You come on and people saying, I haven't got a clue what you're saying. What's a beer can? It's not a one of them. It's a bacon bonds. Right. Which is, what's this one? Will you be making a video about that 18-year-old bacon, Thomas Waller, who was recently jailed? I'm not too familiar on that one. I did see something. Is that the one that killed a younger lass, a 15-year-old, I think? I might be mistaken. But I see that many, or I get sent that many cases as well. And if you're all watching and you have emailed or sent us a message or a DM, do bear with us, people, because I get that many people sending us not videos, so that many people asking or requesting videos about certain individuals. There's that many, unfortunately, there's that many bacons, believe it or not. There's that many bacon stories happening every single day. I never have time to go through them all. Now, like I said, I'm going to upload this one later on, and I have got a video in mind to release tonight, which I might do, or I might let this one gather a bit of momentum and let it go on and let people watch this live later on tonight. But yes, unfortunately, when I go on my news app and go on to that type of crime, or that type of crime pops up, there is fucking any amount every single day, which is a travesty. And a lot of them are them filthy, illegal migrants. Not all of them. When I say filthy, illegal migrants, I'm on about the bacons that have done these offences. The filthy bacon illegals. There's loads of them coming up constantly. So Marge says, I was calling them bacons the other day to my mom and she didn't know what I was on about. There's not a lot, but there'll be thousands of people saying it now after watching me videos when they didn't know what it meant. But even if you go onto Google now, probably because of me videos over the years, if you type it in Google, what is a bacon, comes up. It is a slang term for them. So Mr. Neil says, sentence of Romario Gordon, who was found guilty of killing 16-year-old Cameron Smith, who was stabbed to death in front of his mother in her bedroom in South London. Absolutely horrendous, that. Right, two more comments I'm going to respond to, people, then I'm going to wrap it up because it's been on for nearly an hour. Just laughing at this one. I'm having an egg and bacon sarnie in an hour. Well, when you're eating that bacon and chewing it up, do not be thinking about Watkins because it will make you physically sick. Or you could think about him getting his justice of the bacon bashers. Smoky bacon. Right. So Colin says, what's happening with the Iceman? Now, the three people that has killed that bacon, Kyle Bevan inside of HMP Wakefield, will be put, they will be in segregation still at the moment because a lot of ongoing issues or situations rather, where they will be getting interviewed further. They will be speaking to their legal team because they're entitled to legal visits to get together their defense. So a lot of that will be going on. And I do believe they will be kept in Wakefield segregation for the time being. Then they will be all put on units, but they will be put on separate units. But again, when I spoke about this earlier on in the video, the Iceman will be happy that he's now on a unit because he also has a target on his back. Even though he probably does not give a shit, I think he will still be glad that he's on a unit out of the way, because when he's sharing a wing with another 80 inmates, he will feel vulnerable himself. Right, that's about it for now, people. So I'm going to wrap that up and leave that one there for now. If you are just joining, when I end this stream now, you will be able to go back and watch the whole lot. We have talked about a lot of things, but I am going to be doing these lives a lot more often. I will get another one done, maybe Wednesday, but I will notify you in advance. I'll put a link up saying that I'm going to be going live so you can all join in. But it has been a good live. There's been a lot of people in. There's been a lot of interaction. So thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a brilliant week ahead. It is only Monday. A lot of people will be feeling tender after the weekend, but enjoy the week ahead. Stay focused. Have a positive outlook. And more importantly, when I always end my videos, stay safe, people. Take care.